Today's fellow fasting foodie friend started intermittent fasting in October 2020, but became consistent in May 2021. Since starting, she's lost 85 pounds in total. She loves to work out, including running with her husband and taking her daughter to new trails and parks. Her name means sunrays in Hindi. Today's guest is Kiran Krein. Welcome, Kiran. Did I say that right?
Hi, you did.
Okay.
You did.
I had like major anxiety spike. I'm like, I want to get it right. Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I've been very excited to have you. We chat on Instagram. You're probably someone that I chat with more than others. And I have been excited to get to actually see you face to face and talk.
Me too. It's such an honor. And I appreciate you having me on here to share all things fasting and foodie related. So, but yeah, every time I'm like, oh, this is something Jackie would love. I have to send it to her. Like that. The churro ice cream.
Yeah. Where was that from, by the way? It was kind of describe it to those that can't see or obviously.
Yeah. So you know how you got that mango nada? I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
That similar spot. They have like elote and all that, but I saw that they had like a churro ice cream cone. So the ice cream cone was a churro. And then I got churro flavored ice cream with the caramel. Oh my gosh. And that's what I sent it to you. I said it's window worthy.
Oh, I love it. That would have 100%. Yeah. I'm a cinnamon sugar nut. I can leave chocolate, but cinnamon sugar, caramel, that's my jam.
Me too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So are you currently fasting right now?
I am.
Okay.
Me too. Am 17 hours.
Okay.
I got my sparkling water.
I had my coffee. So cheers to you.
Cheers. But yeah, I am currently fasting. I kind of maintain like, at least like, I think similar to you, like an 18-hour minimum. And I base it upon my schedule. So just like that same metabolic, flexibility. I like to like dip in and out frequently and pushing the window or, oh my gosh, I have a meeting. So I'll just do a longer fast that day. But yeah.
And it's really empowering to like be able to do that. Like, oh, I don't want to eat right now. I don't have the time. It's easy to just push it.
Right. And I'm sure just like you always say, like the energy just like skyrockets and just my husband's like, you're like the Energizer Bunny. It's just, so you kind of like want to keep going sometimes and you lose that kind of hunger feeling, after a while. So it becomes easier over time.
One thing that you mentioned that I'm interested in knowing kind of what was your catalyst to becoming consistent. You started in October, but it took you until May of the following year to be consistent. What changed to that time frame?
So that time frame, my father had passed away in 2019. Thank you. And I think just navigating that with like a 5-month-old was very difficult. And I was nursing and it was just, you get hungrier when you nurse, I think. And with the emotional aspects of it, I leaned more on sweets instead of meals. And so when I had developed a great, like 3 meals, no snacks routine, if you will. But once he passed away, it just kind of went out the door. Like I was like, where'd it go? Like, where'd that routine go? And slowly started to get back into like working out and just, but what happened that switch is when I had my physical.
Okay.
And I went from like a normal fasting glucose to a pre-diabetic.
Okay.
Glucose.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I think I had put on maybe 15 pounds
since
he had passed until that time. So that was a huge, rude awakening for me. And it was like I had this little baby that looked up to me. And I was like, I want to instill her with these habits and these, basically just a healthy lifestyle. And that's what I was seeking. Okay. So it all started with Jason Fung's The Obesity Code and the complete guide to intermittent fasting. And when I saw like 24-hour fast, I was like, what?
Yeah. It sounds like lunatic when you first approach it, doesn't it?
It does.
Like that might work for you, but not for me.
Exactly. So that's kind of what kicked me, kind of like that like rude awakening that I needed. And that's how it started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned, we were chatting before we recorded, that maybe there's some family history with diabetes. Was that rude awakening part of that? This video is sponsored by Element. I love adding Element to my day. I especially love adding the flavors into my eating window. They're great to mix in plain water, in flavored or unflavored sparkling waters, iced coffee, or even in a cocktail. Element uses a science-backed ratio of 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams magnesium. This combination is made without sugars or dodgy fillers. I love taking this to stay hydrated, to keep me fueled, and to keep me from getting sore legs while I do longer fasts. Sore legs are something I used to battle before Element was part of my regular routine. Right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single-serve packets free with any Element order. This is a great way to try all 8 flavors or to share Element with a salty friend. Get yours at drinkelement.com/fastingfoodie. That's DRINKLMNT.com/fastingfoodie. Thank you so much to Element for sponsoring this video.
It was.
Can you share about that?
Absolutely. So I think it was like, I had been like a teenager when my father had diabetes, and he had told me that my grandmother had diabetes and my grandfather, and soon after that, my mother,
Wow.
And so, and then also their generation, a lot of their cousins and siblings also had diabetes. And so I just remember thinking, I don't want that. I don't want to depend on medications, and having that history, like, oh, like your parents' history, we'll have to just always test you. And I was just like, no. And so my dad, right before my dad passed, he said, please learn from me. And I took that, like, it sticks with me, And so I kind of took that as like my why, and really anchored fasting to that. So that's kind of what kept me going. It was like, I want it to stop with me.
You didn't want to pass it to your daughter as well. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's I can see that being an extreme motivator. That would.
Yes, it was.
I'm sorry. Have you been able to have your fasting glucose tested again?
Yes, it is like 79 right now, which is like nice. Yeah, because I think it was always like 90 to 100, and they were like, oh, that's, still pretty good. And I was like, okay, but for being my age and for it to be so consistent that high, it was kind of painting that picture that I had already been leading up to this point.
Right.
Yeah.
So you currently do OMAD now, mostly, right? Am I
mostly.
Right? Okay. And can you explain how you're able to adapt that to your day to day? Because it's not as restrictive as people believe it is.
No, it's not. And I kind of follow like a similar approach that you do. I don't just like have one plate, I do like the appetizer, which thanks to you, I have incorporated pistachios as my breaker now. It used to be like cashews and salad, but now it's more like avocado and pistachios, maybe a little Greek yogurt, something like that. But I usually take Fridays as like, what does like the next week look like for me? And I kind of plan a schedule around that. Some days that are busier, I kind of push it to like a 42.
Okay.
Maybe like once a week. Doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
Much like yours. But I kind of take that approach, and then I leave it a little bit more around family time.
Yeah.
Come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Usually Sundays are like my early OMAD days.
Okay.
And just we have a meal together, usually like lunch or late lunch as a family. But usually it kind of revolves around being around my daughter, just having a meal with her. I do like a morning window sometimes. I do like a hash brown bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sign
just,
me up.
and then I'll get like strategic and do like a 30 hours. So like the next day will be more like dinner. So it'll be like breakfast and then dinner the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to do it. And if you have special events or a busy day, is that how you kind of plan where because you mentioned that you sometimes get up to a 42-hour fast. Do you just plan that based on opportunity to have an up day or busy days?
Yes, I do enjoy having more time, like especially on a Saturday. I like doing like the 500 calorie day on a Friday, and then I enjoy like the up day on a Saturday. Or my husband and I try to do like day dates during the week.
Yeah,
so
me too.
like we'll do like fajitas for lunch, and so I'll just, especially if I have meetings and deadlines, it's so easy just to fast on, just to keep going. But I kind of did that more on when I had a lot of weight to lose. And so I do like track ketones and my glucose just to make sure that I'm not like missing out. Like if it's too high, you can kind of like lose some of the benefits. So, but yeah, I just kind of plan it around my life.
That's awesome.
Fitting fasting into your lifestyle.
That's one thing that I love to share. And I can see that from you on your Instagram that people, if you hear of fasting, you just don't understand that it's not this uber restrictive, you're in shackles, stuck to the same thing every day. It's very flexible. You just have to learn to fast and learn to move it. And I think that you are a great illustration of that.
Thank you. And I think you are too. I think like I stumbled on your page actually when I was reading both the Obesity Code and the Guide to Fasting. I was just kind of like, okay, who else is doing this? Like just kind of like someone I could relate to, and becoming a fasting foodie. Like, I that's kind of how I packed on the weight, was just, there's a new restaurant in downtown, let's go. And, cocktails and dessert. And it was just like, I can't believe I used to do like 3 meals a day, snacks all day, like, wild.
And I think of it, even when I did eat 3 meals a day, rarely, if ever, was it 3 meals of like exciting food. It was, leftovers for lunch, of a less exciting dinner, or, Pop-Tart for breakfast, or, a yogurt cupboard, just things that weren't really exciting. And now when you can make one meal be what you want it to be every day, that's extremely motivating, especially if you're a food lover.
Yes. Yeah. There's no guilt. Like, I love the fact that I never have to count a calorie again. I mean, I do want to occasionally do like a quick macro check to make sure, like, am I eating enough protein? Like just to make sure like that. And over time, that's kind of like the macronutrient that I enjoy the most now. It's just like pounds of meat. It's just weird.
That's hilarious. I did, I don't really ever track macros, but I found being intentional with having a protein-based window opener has really helped me to eat more protein. And then that's where it was finding the things that I liked, like the pistachios or the cottage cheese, and we're not a giant meat eating family. But having other protein sources to open my eating window helps me to want to eat more protein. But it's not like every day I track, but it's doing what's best for me or what feels good.
What feels good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you have any time in your early experience with fasting, like a meal or an event that you were able to thoroughly enjoy that made you think, okay, I can do this forever?
Yes. And it's actually what I'm having. I'm actually having it today.
Oh, yay.
So a little background. I used to only eat like chicken breast or like turkey breast or just eggs. Oh no, egg whites. I would never. Now I eat egg yolks, which is, the more you fast, the more you taste food. I feel like my taste has changed. And so the meal that really got me was I made like air fried buffalo chicken wings.
Yum.
And they're like my favorite. And before this, I would not like hardly even eat anything off a bone. So it's just, I could really taste, the difference. I feel like it's like I'm tasting real food for the first time. Like my taste buds have changed. But yeah, that would be like my favorite meal ever. And that's when I was kind of like, I could do this forever. Like I could just eat this and then just have some veggies, have some, avocado, pistachios, ice cream, whatever I was feeling. But I think that's like my favorite thing ever.
Oh yeah.
Is that weird?
No, I don't think so at all. And I feel like it's just the dynamic of changing what you're able to enjoy. And like you said, your taste buds change and you notice stuff. You're gonna hone in on what you really like. But on the flip side, I found I started to taste like artificial way more than I ever did. And I'm like, oh, I guess like I used to love Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies so much. And I still love like a bakery oatmeal cream pie. But the Little Debbie ones, I remember just all Little Debbie's, anytime I've tried them, I'm like, man, they just don't taste like food anymore.
No, I couldn't agree more. Like I can't even have soda anymore. It just tastes so sweet, you know. Same thing with you. Like I think I had Cheetos the other day and I was like, oh, I don't like these anymore. You know, like they just taste different. It's wild.
I still like a wide variety of chips. I would love for that to dissipate, but Cheez-Its was something else. My mom loves Cheez-Its. We always had Cheez-Its in the house growing up. And I had some and I was like, why did I used to love these?
I know. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm a chip lover too. Like I think Boulder Canyon makes like avocado oil chips.
I've never had
they're
those.
Like my favorite.
I'll have to look for them.
Yeah, and they taste amazing. And they're made just, you know, with avocado oil, which is nice. But yeah, I'm a chip lover too. I always keep it there just if I ever fancy it. But yeah.
My husband used to joke, and we still have chips in the house, but when I wasn't a faster, I would work from home 3 or 4 days a week. And he'd be like, okay, we can't open chips tonight. Mom's working from home tomorrow. And it was so true because it didn't matter what the chip variety was. If they were there, I would down the bag if it was open.
Oh my gosh.
And now I might still have chips and enjoy them, but I don't have the same pull to like down a bag, thankfully. But chips, they have a pull on me.
That I would agree with. My husband would tell you the same thing. He was like, those pickle chips are mine, but Key is going to eat them out. Like I can't open them. And I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry. I can't help it.
Hide them. That's funny. Yeah. So you mentioned that you really like to work out and hike, run with your husband. How have those activities changed as a faster?
Well, I think with the increased energy, I think it was like New Year's Eve 2021, we went on a hike and I think we must have hit like 6 miles. Wow. And I was like, what? Like, I mean, we would do stuff like we would go to Vegas and I would have to be like, okay, let's just take a quick break. This is before all that. But the fact that I kept going after 6 miles, I was like, this is insane, the amount of energy that I have. And then I hadn't hopped on a treadmill probably in over a year. And I was just like, let me just see what I can do. I, for the first time, went an entire mile without stopping.
Wow.
At like 4 miles an hour. And that has never happened to me.
That's amazing.
So yeah, the energy that I have from fasting and just living this lifestyle and my taste buds changing, it's just, I can lift heavier, you know, yeah. I can do more. I always joke around that my daughter has to keep up with me now. You know?
That's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah.
How old is your daughter?
She's 3.5.
3.5. Oh yeah. Yeah. Lots of energy there. So if you're surpassing her, that's a testament there.
Yes. Yeah. That was like my motivator. I was like, oh, and she's like, Mommy, get up. And I was like, I can't do that. She's just going to be more busybody. Yeah. You know?
Mm-hmm. And speaking of energy, when you do your 42-hour fast, do you ever have a hard time sleeping?
Sometimes, but I would say like rarely. I feel like I sleep the best when I'm fasting.
I find I get really good sleep, but it takes me a while to fall asleep. Like I'll lay there, like I don't have the same like, oh, I need to go to sleep, like post dinner slumber feeling. And I'll lay there. But once I fall asleep, it feels like good sleep.
Yes, I can relate. I know what you're saying because I'll lay in bed for a little while longer than if I were to have a dinner, just because of the increased energy. Yep. Yeah. But once I'm asleep, it's solid.
Yeah. Like don't bother trying to wake me up for anything.
Yes.
So yeah, I feel like I know the answer to this, but do you restrict any foods within your eating window?
No,
Yep.
no, just whatever I'm feeling, because I feel like the minute we restrict, it's like, oh, I got to eat that bag of chips out,
Exactly.
like, and I have that new mentality where it's like, oh, the chips are going to be there, like, or if I want the chip, I can have the chip, and I think that restrictive mentality growing up of just, oh, I can't have that, or it just was a spiral at some point. You can't do this forever. So no restriction, but I do tend to make better choices.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I think that, like yesterday I shared on Instagram a Punchki, the filled donut, and you commented on that. And that's a perfect example of, I was able to enjoy it. I had it that day, and it's Fat Tuesday. It's fun to celebrate and be a part of it, but I'm not going to think of going back to get another one today, or, oh, I already ate one, I better finish the box of, there's none of that guilt associated behavior with it. And I agree that even though I don't have restrictions, I 100% know at the very least, I'm not eating it all day long like I used to. And then two, I still make better choices, and I continue down that path the longer I fast.
Right. And there's no FOMO.
No.
Like just, oh, they're having it, but I'm not. Like it's just, you enjoy and you move on.
Yeah. Not everyone understands. There is a huge mental burden of missing out or regretting the food that you didn't order, regretting what you did order because you shouldn't have. There's just a lot of mental burden, whether you ate it or not. There was no winning in a diet mindset.
I know. I couldn't agree more.
So do you enjoy going out to eat?
Yes. We for the most part, I think our day dates, we try to go once a week. Is most of the time it's out. So that's kind of fun. We have this burger spot that literally, I would say 2 out of the 4 times in a month we're there. And it's just, I've learned what works well for me, and what I can have and what feels good, going into that next fast. And on the weekends, we're a little bit more strategic, just because around planning my daughter, she just started soccer, and just kind of planning, okay, maybe we should eat at home and then we'll go out for dinner, or something like that. But yeah, I would say at least twice a week. And thanks to you, I am going to try Panda Express on my 500 calorie down day this week.
I hope you like it. I haven't gone back again, but those super grains, or what vegetable dreams are made of, they were so good.
I know. I got to learn how to make them.
I need to too. I have a vegetarian, which makes it hard because I think they cook it in chicken broth. But my sister turned me on to, it's called not chicken bouillon. So it's supposed to have the chicken flavoring, but it's not chicken based. And so I'm going to give it a whirl. I meant to do it a while ago and I never got to, but they're super grains. Highly recommend.
They're so good.
Have you, can you explain the difference of the joy of going out to eat now as a faster, maybe as opposed to pre-fasting?
Yeah. So I think when I go out now, I don't have any guilt or shame that follows. It's just enjoyment. And I think that's when I say my top 3 reasons of why I enjoy fasting is that, because when I would leave a restaurant and I've ate whatever I wanted, I would be like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm going to have to do this tomorrow, or I'm going to have to start Monday and do this diet, and it would always be this vicious cycle where it's just I ate it, enjoyed it, and I moved on. And it's just so freeing. It's just, and I think that's just part of my top 3 reasons why I'm just this is a lifelong thing for me.
Yes. And that was one of my, we went out to dinner and I actually ate the bread, which I never did prior. I'm not a giant bread person anyways, but I felt empowered, and I had pasta and a drink and dessert. It was a celebratory meal. And I thought that was within the guidelines. And at that point I was still doing it to lose weight. And I thought I literally could have this feeling forever. It was just very exciting to me that was an option. And so I'm I'll do this forever. Sign me up.
Exactly. It's just that freedom.
And I always joke with my husband, if we didn't have kids, I think I would just want to go out to eat every night. Never knowing what sounded good that day, just Oh, what do I want to eat today for my one meal?
Yeah, just having like this unlimited options. Yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah.
So what does your husband think of you fasting? Does he join you?
He does now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was shocked. He was like, well, I think it was like maybe 6 months ago. He was like, well, I'll try a 24-hour, like just let me see how that goes. And he was like, wow, I have so much more energy, just doing that. So I would say he does more of a 18 to 24 OMAD. And then we partake in this similar fast on the weekend.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Did that make it easier with them joining you, or were you pretty steady at that point?
I was pretty steady. There were plenty of times where it was just like, I had a little bit of that FOMO feeling in the beginning where they were eating and I'm not, and it was just like, oh my God, they're eating so much. That's like what it felt like, but he doesn't even feel the need to even have like more than 2 meals.
Okay.
It's usually 1 or 2 consistently now. And I think it was last week he had his first 48 hour,
wow,
which he was really excited about. Yeah. So, and I think because I just word vomit like everything I learn about it, he's just like, wow, like, hey, I have cancer in my family, like the autophagy, the healing aspects of it. And just, so like I say, like, knowledge is power, and I'm not here to convince anyone to do it, but I was happy that he was like, hey, I want to try it, and I was like, okay, this is great,
Are you pretty open in your personal life, sharing it with others, coworkers, friends, family?
Yeah, I would say for those who have asked, I am. When I start to just talk about it, I've noticed some people get uncomfortable or, what do you mean you don't eat breakfast or lunch? And so I do share with close friends, family members. There's certain peers that, that fast along with me. But I wouldn't say I think because I've received some criticisms, I'm not as open as I would have liked to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm hoping to just kind of I notice how you are and you're just kind of like, if you don't like it, whatever. I'm trying to develop that same feeling and just fitting it into my lifestyle. People are like, oh, you work out every day. And I'm like, yeah. And I do it fasted every day. I work out 48 hours in, it's freeing. And I feel like when others want to, then they'll ask more,
Yeah, that's actually how I am in my personal life. Everyone close to me, siblings, parents know that I fast, but I don't tell everyone. And then if they want to know, I'm like, oh yeah, well, I have this whole YouTube community where you can join and learn, and then they'll never hear me stop talking about it. But I kind of approach it the same way. Like if they notice something's different, I'll bring it up then if they ask, but I'm not gonna,
I know. I would love to scream it from the rooftops, just be like, but it's the criticisms of, I'm just like, okay, you're not ready yet, and I'll just, that's okay. You can come to me when you're ready, and just, but yeah, I'm pretty open with my family members, and my brother and my sister, they both they do more of an intermittent fast.
Okay.
Yeah, just more like a 16, 18 daily one. Yeah.
Have they been motivated by seeing your blood glucose change? And do you think they're...
Yes.
I would think that's extremely compelling to them.
Yeah, especially sharing the same genetics. That's the other thing is I want to prove to people is genetics is not everything.
Yeah, it's not the end all be all. Having something like that to drive you can really, it's just an added benefit of what you're working towards. When I was 24, I was diagnosed with a fatty liver. And honestly, I never really looked into it. They just told me not to become overweight because I was actually not overweight at the time. And that's always been a big driver for me. Just knowing they told me being overweight would aggravate it more. It was always a driver of well, there's an actual reason more than just clothing or whatever that was a big, and I've been able to reverse that.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And fasting was all I did. So it's really nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you do clean fasting?
I do now.
Okay.
I would say I lost 55 pounds in 6 months.
Wow.
And so during that time, I was kind of navigating what works well for me. And I would have a 20-calorie pre-workout that I drink.
Okay.
And I think this was before I discovered clean fasting. And so I did drink that daily right before I worked out, any fast I was doing. And I still managed to lose the 55. I think when I got closer to getting the last 5 to 10 off is when I switched to the raw element or the sparkling, the plain sparkling water. It gets microscopic. For me, it was like that, you know, but for I think the biggest, I feel the biggest weight loss part, I was able to drink the 20-calorie pre-workout, get my workout in, and it still didn't really affect my weight loss. So, but like I said, when you plateau or when you stall, you do have to be well, do I really need that? No, you know.
Did you feel better moving to a clean fast, do you think, or did you feel pretty good both ways?
I think I felt good both ways, but I will say the clean fast, just like it sounds, it does feel cleaner. It feels okay, there's absolutely nothing stopping me from autophagy.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping me from tapping into long-term fat stores, you know? So when I, especially if I do an intentional longer fast, I do clean fast 100%.
Yeah.
But I would say now that I'm closer, I don't have 80 pounds to lose, I do practice more of a clean fast.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll move into, if you're good with it, the fast food round, rapid fire questions.
Yeah. Okay.
This is my favorite part. So what is your absolute favorite drink?
Okay. For a cocktail, I do like a Tito's water with a squeeze of lime.
Okay.
That's my favorite. Beer, I like Revolver.
Oh, I've never even heard of Revolver.
It's so good. And fasting cocktail would be my sparkling water with Element. Yeah.
Okay. I always say Element in a flavored sparkling water with the watermelon. It's like a mocktail. It reminds me of a margarita, and I love it.
The watermelon.
Yes.
Best flavor ever.
Yeah, 100% agree. Love watermelon Element. What is your absolute favorite food?
Thai food.
Yum.
I love Thai food. And my mom's cooking, which is Indian, which I guess you could argue is kind of close. But yeah, going out, we love going out for Thai.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. We have a local Thai restaurant that I love too. But I love one dish so much that I'm I never want to try something else unless it's in addition to my favorite dish. I'm Matt, let's try this new chicken, but I'm still going to get my favorite noodles.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So what is your absolute favorite food?
Okay. The chicken wings.
Chicken wings.
That is my favorite meal ever.
I have to ask, as someone who loves actual chicken wings, do you consider boneless just a big nugget?
Kind of now, but before I started fasting, that's all I would eat. And it's I don't not like them, but I just prefer the chicken wings now, which is wild. I went 35 years without eating it on the bone,
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What is the weirdest food combination that you love?
I'll do my mom's chicken curry sometimes, with a tomato cabbage. It sounds so weird, but she kind of makes a stew out of the cabbage. And and before fasting, I never used to hodgepodge things. I wouldn't mix food at all.
Okay.
And I'm diving into the cabbage and the curry. And to me, I feel that's the weirdest combo ever, because it's curry, which is spice, and then tomato. It's just my favorite.
I'm definitely a food mixer. If I have 10 different things, I like to get a little bit of everything on the plate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
No.
We're going to have to disagree on that. We can still be friends, but I disagree.
I know. Maybe not now. Maybe I'll try it again since my taste changes.
Yeah. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. What's a food that you love that most people love that you dislike?
I haven't loved sauerkraut, but I also feel like maybe that's not something everybody likes either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like most people I know like it.
Yeah, I love sauerkraut.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you like it? You like it? Mama. I like kimchi, which I feel like is a close. So maybe, but yeah.
I think kimchi is like sauerkraut's cooler older cousin. I love kimchi.
I just can't get around to eating sauerkraut.
Okay.
It's so good for you, but yeah.
And finally, what would be your last meal?
Okay, so this has been something that has not changed through fasting. I love P.F. Chang's.
Okay.
Spicy chicken.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite since I was probably like 14 or something. But that's like if I want comfort food or something, just I know it's going to be delicious. It's
yum. I've never been to P.F. Chang's, but I've been to their like quick service Payway. We like that. Okay. When we travel to Baltimore, we go through. We're like, oh, Payway is our Maryland stop that we don't have here locally.
If you get a chance, like try it.
I would love that.
So good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to join me today. I've really enjoyed getting to know you. It's been a real delight.
It's been awesome. And it's so nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. If anyone wants to join you on Instagram, can you share your handle with them?
Yes, it's at Kiran Suku, KiranSukhu.
Awesome. Go follow her, guys. She's worth the follow.
Yay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too.